It's all yours, brother.
All right, well, guys, I was thinking of what I was going to talk about, and I was praying about it, and I was thinking of a lot of people are stricken with fear, and more so faith over fear, right? It's kind of low definition. I was kind of like something I googled up on the web. Uh, Faith over fear doesn't mean that you don't feel afraid. It means that you will not let your fear consume you and or your actions. When you are going through it, our default is to get stuck on the now and our current situation. Amen. We automatically, we just get stuck in that one thing, and thinking, oh, we let it's just a chapter in our life, and we, instead of looking at the chapter, we're just looking at the page, right? We're not seeing the bigger picture and understanding that this is whatever we're going through is gonna pass, right? We just need to have that faith. We just get stuck in that one thing, and we go out there, we kind of throw out our SOS to God, right? Think, hey, I'm down here. Do you not hear me? Are you mad at me? What's going on? And I was just kind of thinking, you know, that God comes through in His timing, not our timing. And I think I was sharing with Pastor Daniel throughout the week, as sometimes in God's fashion, He comes in like a boss. Amen. At the last second, bam, there it is. But a lot of times it's not in the timing that we would appreciate or would want or we feel comfortable in, right? And I was thinking of in Matthew 8:24 through 26, right? Talking about the disciples on a boat, amen? Or, suddenly it says, the text says, suddenly a violent storm arose on the sea, and that the boat was being swamped by the waves. But he was sleeping. So the disciples came to him and woke him up, saying, "Lord, save us! We're gonna die." But he said to them, Why are you fearful? You have little faith." Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was a great calm. I was looking at my study notes, right? That was interesting. That after it says that after the disciples woke him up, he got mad at them. Kind of checked him, was like why are you worried? He said, don't you think I'm going to take care of you, right? And I was thinking, I was kind of doing some further research, that the Sea of Galilee, it was known for being very unpredictable, kind of like our life, right? Where stuff can happen at the last second, where we don't expect it. We can be going about our daily doing, and sometimes we don't do anything wrong, and we doing everything right, and yet it still happens, right? And what I wrote down is this. It says, storms or trials and life often come suddenly and violently. All too often, it seems that Christ can be far away when we're in that moment, right? We need to practice to keep calm in the storms of our life. Just rest in that trust and peace and that confidence in God. Our first thought is, oh man, like I was saying, am I being punished? Why is this happening? It must be, maybe I didn't come clean with all of the sin. Maybe I didn't give it all up, right? But the Bible teaches us that nothing can separate from His love. That's in Romans 8:35. You know, like one of my favorite songs, we'll get to later on. It says, what do I do to have that kind of faith that it takes to climb inside this boat when the waves are crashing all beside me, right? I think that we need to keep focused, just like I believe it was Paul or Peter, I forget. When he's walking on the waves, he had his focus on God, right? That's the only way that he could walk on the waves. And I think that when we take our eyes off God, that's when we sink, and we're carrying things that we were never designed to carry, and we try to take it all on our own, and it always turns out bad. I mean, trust me on that one. Uh, you know, 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fearfulness, but one of power, love, and sound judgment." I think we need to be overcomers. Jesus has already gone before us. All we really need to do is rely on Him and do our part, right? We can't get all pumped up and listening to the enemy when he tries to jack us up with fear and derail us and sidetrack us. I think that, that's what he's all about. He lives in the shadows. That's where he operates. He's trying to sidetrack us. Like before I had to hop off last week, Sister Lorena said something that caught me. And she was saying that we already have the tools. And she's right. We have been given all the tools that we need to succeed. But the problem is, when we take our eyes off God, we drop the tools. We drop everything. But we need to remember that we already have those tools, and that we need to remember to use those tools, right? I was kind of thinking of that, and y'all know, like I like watching movies and all that kind of stuff, and I know I'm gonna show my age, right? But you remember that it was in the '80s, a show called The Greatest American Hero, the dude that could fly, right? Like, remember that? Oh, you old cats. Well, for the younger cats, there was a show. This dude, he could fly like Superman. But the only one thing is, he didn't have the manual. I forget exactly why he didn't have the manual, or he lost it, or whatever reason. But so we're kind of like that guy when we drop those tools. He's flying around aimlessly. He doesn't know how anything works. He doesn't know how to handle these situations that he's about to come into, right? So in essence, he hasn't put on his armor, right? In Ephesians, we need to put on our helmet of salvation and our sword and our shield. He doesn't have any of that. He keeps bumping into things. But I thought it was kind of cool that his sidekick. He has I think he works for the FBI or the police officer, right? He's always helping him out of jams, and I was kind of thinking that was really interesting, because no matter what our trials are, or whatever it is that we're facing, whether it's sicknesses, cancers, and all that, and whatever that fill in the blank is, that I think that the greater the assignment is, the greater the assistance we're going to get from God. And sometimes that assistance comes from, like all of us here, or maybe like, hey, hey Joe, you got a minute? Can you want to pray with me? I'm like, yeah. And God puts those people in your life so we can help each other. We build each other up, and we can get that fuel and that fire. Amen. I think that we always need to be mindful of who we are listening to and getting our counsel from. We need to make sure when we are listening to people, if that person was more jacked up than you ever were, it might not be the best. You might want to question the validity of the information that you're going to get from that person. James 4:7 says this: therefore submit to God, but resist the devil, and he will flee from you. And just keep in mind that what we're dealing with is a spiritual war that's raging. And you remember, the devil cannot harm us directly, but he can. What does he do? He distracts, derails, throws shade on us, and he operates in the shadows, right? But he can only do that if we let him. But we need to stand on our faith and pick up that armor, right? And remember, in Ephesians, the last thing it tells us to do after we put on everything, right? That thing it tells us to do is what? Stand in prayer. And I think that's a lot of times we tend to forget that the prayer is so powerful, but it's so easy, but we can forget, like, oh, I'll get to it later. But no, we need to pray, and we need to be in constant prayer. I think that when we do that, we're gonna level up, you know what I mean, and we're gonna have that next escape mode with our faith life. Amen. So I would just encourage everybody to remember to put on that armor every single day, because we are fighting a war, and it is all around us, and the devil never stops. He's looking to take us out, because what we're doing here, trust me, he doesn't like it. And a lot of my friends are going through all kinds of things, and he's just trying to trip every one of them. I have a longtime friend. He's still battling addiction. Someone I never thought that would ever become an issue with. And the dude took him out. And he's been like that for what, about a couple of years, babe? Something like that, year and a half. So I would just encourage you just to be strong. And if you ever needed to reach out, please do. Any one of us would love to pray with one another. That's what we're here for. And whatever you're going through. And, sometimes when we're at I'll leave you with this little short story. We had a little get together with, the family of Laura or Lala. And, sometimes when you just don't have the words to say anymore, just being there says more than you can ever could, right? And I think that's the same thing. When we reach out to one another, we strengthen and empower one another. And sometimes, we might not have the answer, but I think that when we're there with one another, we strengthen one another, and we build that stone wall, right? Like in Nehemiah. And while you're down, I'm going to protect you. And likewise, maybe one day I'm going to be down, and I'm sure I will. And, I would appreciate it. And I know that you guys will all take care of me too. And I think that's what we need to do, right? That's what I have for you guys tonight. What do you guys think?